All right, Merry Christmas, almost. It's getting so close now. So let me ask you a question. Have you ever gotten something for Christmas or for a birthday that broke before the night was over? Have you ever gotten something that was like, this is going to be awesome, and then you wait for it, and then it breaks within an hour or two? I think one of the toys that I remember doing that to all the time was a Slinky. I don't know if Slinkies are even popular anymore, but you would look at this Slinky, and they had these commercials back when I was a kid. They put it on the stairs, and it would go like down one stair and down the other, and you're like, oh man, Slinkies are so cool. I've got to have a Slinky. And it walks through the store, and oh man, if I could just get that, I'd be so happy. And I would get the Slinky, and then somehow within an hour or so, you know what I'm talking about. It gets this knot in it, like on the metal or whatever, gets twisted weird. And then you think, well, I've got to twist all of them weird. And then you go through the whole thing and you flip it inside out, and it's still twisted and doesn't work right. Complete disappointment. Complete disappointment. And a lot of the things that we hope for are like that. A lot of things that we want are like that. In fact, if you think about being as you get older, you think, man, if I could just get this thing, I'd be happy. If I could just get if I could just get a four-wheeler, if I could just get a boat, and if we could just get a house, if I could just have a child, you think about all these things, then you're like, oh my gosh, like you still end up somehow disappointed, because we put our hopes in things that really can't deliver the goods, guys. They do not deliver the goods. And so we have this hope in us in a world where people are placing their hopes, and we do too, in things that just don't deliver the goods. And yet we have the answer to that as followers of Jesus Christ. We know that Jesus is the answer. He is the one who gives hope, and we have this inside of us, and we have this responsibility to actually share the hope that's inside of us. And so I want to read this verse to you. It's three verses actually in 1 Peter chapter 3. Love these verses. It's kind of set up like a sandwich almost. I love the way that this is written. You'll see. Think about a Chick-fil-A sandwich or a turkey sandwich or a ham sandwich or something. You'll see how it kind of sets up. But it says, do not fear. It's talking about sharing our hopes. And remember, this is actually written to early Christians who actually feared for their lives for sharing their hope. We don't have that situation, but yet we still fear. We still are afraid at times to share the hope that's inside of us. But it says, do not fear, do not be frightened. So that's like the top layer of the sandwich, okay? This is the top bun, okay? Do not fear. He's reminding us that when it comes to sharing our hope, don't be afraid to do that. And then if you go a little bit farther down in the verse, the bottom bun says, always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give the reason for the hope that you have in you, okay? So this top bun tells us, don't be afraid to share the hope that's in you. And the bottom part of the bun says, always be prepared to share the hope that you have inside of you. And you're like, okay, so what's the meat? Give me the big slab of chicken or the big piece of ham or whatever it is. What is it in the middle? And this is what it is. So remember it kind of as a sandwich. It says, how am I actually going to do this? Okay. Don't be afraid. Don't be fearful to share the hope inside of you, and always be prepared. Okay, so how do I do it? How do I do it then? Here's the piece of meat. It's in the middle of those two pieces of the sandwich. It says, but in your hearts, revere Christ as Lord. In your hearts, another way that says it is to set Jesus apart in your heart. To set him apart in your heart. That's the meat of this thing, this whole sandwich. That's the meat of it. Set him apart. Set Christ apart in your heart. So how are we ready? Well, we set Christ apart in our heart. Why do we have a reason? Because we've set Christ apart in our heart. Why are we not afraid? Because we've set Christ apart in our heart. I think of it this way. You don't have to twist my arm for me to tell you a story about my kids. I can be in Walmart, I can be in group, I can be in front of you at church, I can be in a conversation with a friend or anybody. It's nothing for me to say, oh, and my kids did this, and let me tell you the story about my amazing kids, or let me tell you about my wife. Heather did this, and I'll share a story about her. Why is it so easy? Because I've set them apart in my heart. It's easy for me to tell the love story. It's easy for me to tell love stories because I love them so much. I'm gonna easily share with you anything that you want. And Heather comes up in my conversation all the time. My kids come up in my conversation all the time. I'm not afraid to share those stories, and I'm prepared because I've just set them apart in my heart. It's very natural for me to talk about them. It's just the love stories. It's just flowing all around outside of me and in my life. Here's my life. This is my wife. These are my kids. So, if you aren't sharing your faith, you're not sharing your hope out of fear. The simple answer is to set Jesus apart in your heart. If you don't feel like you're prepared, then set Jesus apart in your heart. That's the answer. So that's the bun, that's the sandwich, the top, the bottom, and the meat in the middle. It's just to fall in love with Jesus and to talk about him and to share him. You're prepared because you've spent time with him and he's a part of your life and you love him and you'll talk to anybody about him. You're not afraid because you love him and you just want to share love stories about Jesus, your only hope. So again, it says, always be prepared to share the hope that lives inside of you. Don't be afraid. Just set Jesus apart in your heart. Oh, I love that so much. I hope that helped you today. Certainly a challenge for me too. All right. This will be the last devotion on Wednesdays until the new year. Okay. So enjoy your Christmas. We'll see you around at the Christmas Eve service. It's Christmas Eve at 3:30, 5 o'clock. In person, you have to RSVP. You can do that on our website or our app. And we'll be live streaming both of those services at 3:30 and 5. So grab a candle and just join us online if you can't make it, or if you're not comfortable being there, or it just doesn't work out. Just join us online, okay? All right. Love you guys. I hope that you have a great week and share the hope that's inside of you. You'll have opportunities to do it. All right. Bye.